where the campfire light meets the dark of night. Mysterious creatures move in the shadows. To some, they remain the subjects of folklore, but those who have encountered them know they are real.
So I've been looking for places that we might be able to go to this weekend for our Slalakum expedition, and this one is Hidden Valley. What do you think of this one?
I think the first thing that we want to do is we've narrowed this down to a couple of different wildlife management areas. We want to find one that has a bunch of Bigfoot sightings in the area. Now, I know a lot of these wildlife management areas, they're not heavily explored. There's not people there all the time. Probably not even as much so as along the Appalachian Trail. So there may not be a lot of sightings right in the area where we're looking at, but we want to find a point where perhaps the surrounding towns or the surrounding cities have had several sightings. These would probably be the mountains where Bigfoot would come out of because they're so dense, they're a perfect place for him to hide. So what's the name of the county?
The name of the county is Washington, and what I've done is pulled up the Virginia Bigfoot Research Organization website. You can search for Virginia sightings. Down here, it allows me to search by county. So I'm going to click on Washington and see what it pulls up.
Okay.
Ah, look at that.
And right here, look at this. I see one that's Hidden Valley sighting. So there was actually a sighting in this wildlife management area.
Right. That's exactly right.
Very interesting.
And it looks like it was July 26, 2006, in the park area. A grayish creature, ape-like in appearance, 6 to 7 feet tall. He was in a walk with a friend and saw a creature moving in the bushes about 10 feet from us. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, so these guys were just taking a friendly stroll, through the deep, dense woods at 1 o'clock in the morning.
They had to be hunters or something.
Even hunters don't get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and walk around. I think they must have been looking for Bigfoot is what I'm guessing. They were probably doing what we're doing.
Perhaps.
But evidently they found it or claim to have. But yeah, I mean, there's one right there. And then there's some, it looked like in the surrounding county, in the surrounding area as well. One in Gum Hill, one in South Holston, North Fork of the Holston River, River Bottom, Glade and Chilhowie, Mendota. So actually it looks like there's been quite a few in the area. So we might have gotten a good spot here.
So we had this list here, not really list, but a bunch of different areas that we printed up to look at, of different wildlife management areas. Mm-hmm. And we really did, even without the knowledge of where the Bigfoot sightings occurred, we did pick two that we really liked. And those were the two that we were going to do further research on. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that Hidden Valley, that was like it was kind of tied for our number one choice.
Yeah.
And it is actually one that there are several sightings. So I think what we want to do is let's bring up an actual satellite view and see what this area looks like. See what we're talking about here as far as how isolated it is, how off the grid it may be.
Exactly, yes.
All right, so this is it.
Yep.
And the parking area is over here around the lake?
Yeah,
somewhere?
It's right at the end of this little road that comes down here, right on this little kind of a peninsula that juts out in the lake. And then there's also a network of roads that goes around the outside of the lake. And it looks like there's a creek. Brumley Creek is what feeds this lake right here.
Kind of see it on here a little better with the actual creeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Highlighted.
See, you can see the creek coming up here. Mm-hmm. That's what feeds the lake.
And that little area where we circled, That's interesting because we thought about maybe going up in the middle there.
Right. And that's
because
here.
there's a couple different creeks that run together, so it'd be a perfect watering hole maybe. But
Yep.
also to consider the scale is up here. So the scale that's 1 mile.
Right.
So from the parking, we're going to be doing at least a 2-mile hike.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Even if we could come up to the top of one of these little creeks here.
Yes.
One of these little creeks would be a little more isolated, a little farther away from the main lake where there may be some more activity as far as people are concerned.
Right, right. Now, that little spot that we circled is called Stagger Hollow. That's right here where a couple of different, where Brumley Creek kind of branches off. So that might be a potentially good area. If we wanted to get a little farther away, a little more off the beaten path, you can see the little creeks run through the valleys here, so in the deeper spots. So we could essentially come up to maybe the head of one of these creeks down here. I'm not exactly sure what kind of hike that's going to be, just simply because of the terrain. This is like...
Zoom in on that, because from here it just looks like a bunch of grass.
It does.
But that's actually all treetops.
All
Look at
trees.
that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's so thick with trees that they do say on the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries website that there is a network of closed roads that run throughout this whole wildlife management area. But it is so dense with trees that we can't even see the network of roads.
Isn't that something?
So there could potentially be roads that take you, into different areas through here. We just have no way of knowing what those roads are.
And it's a no wonder that something could hide up there.
Right.
And not be found, ever.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much ever.
Absolutely, because when you zoom back out, look at this whole area is just completely covered with trees.
Wow.
This entire area here.
And where is this in reference to Virginia? Can you zoom out that far?
I can, but you're not going to be able to tell anything.
Can we see where, like, if you zoom out and just leave that pin on there, can we see where in the state that is? Can we see the whole state?
You can, but you're not going to be able to tell much in satellite view. So you have to almost click over to this view here. Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. Let's zoom all the way out.
So we're almost into
Virginia.
What, Kentucky?
Yeah.
All right.
So here's where Virginia kind of has that little spot that sticks up and then comes back down. Here's Kingsport, Tennessee. So it's, right pretty far west, very far west.
Right.
And so it's going to be up in the mountains. It's going to be deep, thick woods, mountainous terrain, probably a great deal of wildlife out there. So I think this might be our area.
That sounds like our place.
It does.
So today being Tuesday, and this expedition we're leaving for it Friday.
Right.
We can agree that we're probably going to go to either the head of Lee Creek or to whatever that hollow was.
Right.
Between the creeks. Mm-hmm. What we need to do from here, though, is of course make our final list out tomorrow, because tomorrow's Wednesday. We need to make our final list, check everything off. Thursday, get any last minute items that we need to get.
Right.
And then pretty much have everything ready to go Thursday night.
Right.
So we can get as early start as possible at the end of the work week here on Friday.
Yeah.
As we venture off, not only into the night, but into the mountains.
Yeah,
this is going to be an exciting exploration.
It is. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a little bit unsettling because, I'm thinking about some of the camping we've done. And when you're sitting out in some of these state park campgrounds in the middle of the night, and it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're the only people awake out there, it still feels really isolated, and it's a little creepy,
it does.
But to think that we're going to be out in an area where there might not be anybody around for miles or tens of miles, that's even creepier. The thought of being out there and you don't know what, anything could be coming at you. So...
And this creature is described as being 7 to 10 feet tall.
Yes.
Imagine being out there and seeing this. And I honestly as far as concern goes, Bigfoot's the least of my concern.
Mine
Like,
too.
he's our goal.
Mine too.
But I don't think if we found him, if we didn't find him,
Right.
if he found us, I don't think there'd be any trouble with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I don't think there would.
I'm more concerned about some crazy ass hunter like trying to pop us off because he sees us walking through the woods and thinks it's a good opportunity to murder somebody. And
Could
get away
be.
with it.
People like to hunt people.
They do.
But also, that brings to mind maybe wearing orange is a bad idea.
I don't know because
maybe we want to stay away from these people that are out there hunting people. Like, hey, let's go look for an orange target and shoot at it.
I don't know. See, the blaze orange will prevent you from being shot at by the sane hunters.
True.
But it's going to make you a perfect target for the insane hunters.
Right.
You know, not saying there's absolutely going to be some out there, but you know.
never know.
Yeah, I'm more worried about
know.
people than I am anything else, which is pretty typical
Mm-hmm.
in the paranormal industry, at least for me.
So, it is Friday night. We are loading up to head out on our expedition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've got all our gear loaded in the back there. I don't know how we're going to carry all that a couple miles out to our campsite.
Yeah.
David, let's take a look at your backpack there.
Man, you're talking about, like, how we're going to carry all this stuff. How am I going to carry this?
Oh, man, look at that. So you got a
Dangling
sleeping
a little low. Because, like,
Got
even
a
just a
sleeping
few
bag of
steps,
tents.
it just slams into the back of my
Yeah,
legs.
whacking you in the back of the legs. Throw you off balance to fall in
Yeah.
a creek.
I'll hit, like, a tree, fall down on the trail, like, snap my ankle.
Yep.
This will be the last video I'm in. The Sasquatch got me. So, needless to say, I'm going to need some assistance from either Jeff or Linda. You know,
To rig
probably
it up a
tomorrow
little better.
morning. Yeah, to like rig it up a little better. But
Yeah.
I got my tent good, so
Oh, yeah.
that's good. That's good.
So we drove, what was it? About 6 hours last night out here to Abingdon, Virginia, where we stayed in this hotel. And I got to say, when you wake up in the morning and you look out, you see mountains all around.
Right.
It's like the town is surrounded by mountains. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
it's
if you can
beautiful.
see kind of over here without the glare of the sun. Mountains all around. And it's these very mountains, or not very far from here,
About 30-minute drive.
about a 30-minute drive, where we're going to be venturing into the woods
Yeah.
in search of Bigfoot.
Yeah. I'm more of a realist than I think Jeff is, and maybe more than he is. So I'm probably the one that's the most nervous about it. I'm a little more scared because I know that things like getting lost in the woods and getting, attacked by rabid bears and stuff. I know that stuff actually happens. So I'm a little nervous. I'm thinking about being out there in the wild, sitting there in the glow of a fire late at night, not being able to see beyond that glow, and hearing things moving around in the woods and not knowing whether it's like a panther coming for you or whether it's, Sasquatch or some crazy hunter out in the woods. It's, uncontrolled, a little bit nerve-wracking, I think, is the best way to put it.
Man, I'm just excited to catch Bigfoot, man.
You're going to catch him? Will
Oh,
you
yeah.
tie him up with paracord?
You saw how much stuff I got in my bag. I got enough bungee cords to tie him up and take him out of here. It's gonna be good. So you heard it here first, Dave from VAPI. We're gonna catch Bigfoot.
You could roll them up in your sleeping bag. It probably
Exactly.
wouldn't be much bigger.
Yeah, probably. No, I'm really excited though. Because I haven't went backpacking in a really long time, probably like 5 or 6 years. So it's gonna be fun to get back out there. And I mean, this time there's no water or anything out there. It's real primitive stuff. And I think it's gonna be really fun.
I gotta say, I take it kind of one thing at a time. And the first thing on my mind when I got up was, of course, looking out at these mountains and thinking about the venture out into these mountains and how amazing this is going to be out there in the wilderness. And I love uncontrolled environments, especially with like the urban legends where you're out at a place where anything can happen, from crazy people running out in the woods to ghosts. This is something of a whole new nature. It's not just the crazy people that might be out in the woods, and we might be the only crazy people out there, but it's also the creatures that have been seen around here. This area where we're going is a mountain that's surrounded by several different little towns where there have been several sightings of Bigfoot. And if you think about it, where's Bigfoot going to go back to? He's not going to live in the towns, obviously. He's probably going back to secluded areas like this area where we're going to. So the thought that we might see him out there, but I gotta say, the first thing on my mind is breakfast, because I stopped at a Flying J last night and I was hoping to get something to eat. They didn't have hot dogs. They had the chicken pictures on the doors, like, man, I get some chicken. All I could get was nachos. And then the chili and the cheese was like lukewarm, and it struggled to come out of the spout. So I'm pretty hungry, needless to say. Being 11 o'clock in the morning, 32 degrees, let's get breakfast and do some hiking.
Let's get this thing on. As you can see, I intentionally made this, so if something's coming after me, a panther, a bear, a coyote, even a fox, if you will, see, they're gonna be running. And so this is almost like a little switch release. I can pull the cord and it's gonna hit them. So I'm running and I'll just go, and that stuff will drop, and it's like Donkey Kong barrels. They'll fall over that.
It'll be rolling down the hill towards them.
Exactly.
They'll be trying to jump over it.
Exactly. So it was all just a master plan. You can see I'm really prepared. Just really prepared out here.
Okay, so here we are out at Hidden Valley, and I have to say this was an awesome place. Coming out to it, just coming down up the road first.
Oh, geez,
and this road literally is one of those roads that snakes up the mountain.
Yes.
Gravel road, a little bit unsettling. Wasn't sure if we're gonna make it, and of course the gas light comes on. We're not sure how much farther. So we might be stuck here for a while. We don't know. We'll see when we get back tomorrow. But we've loaded up our backpacks, and what we're gonna do first here is find a trailhead. We have this beautiful lake behind us, and we were stopped coming in. They were doing a checkpoint. Some of the rangers were up there talking to people, and they said, there's some trails, some marked trails up along here and up along there. We said, well, we want to do a little bit more exploring. So they told us, come down until the road ends. And then there's some unmarked trails down there. That's where we're going to go.
Yeah.
So.
These are unmarked trails, like deep through the woods. Like, I don't know really what to expect from this. First time going out, like, heavy backpacking.
Yeah.
Look at this thing, all tightly packed, but it's not really that heavy. It's actually pretty comfy.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah. But,
can't relate.
David's got a giant knife that I loaned him there, and
a roll of toilet paper.
Jeff's got a couple guns, and I think we're set. I think we're pretty much set.
We got our backpacks loaded up, and of course, shotgun is just a 20 gauge, but hopefully any animals will mainly scare off. Self-defense. Of course, if we find Bigfoot out here, our goal is to try to establish some kind of peaceful communication with him. So we want to make sure we do everything in our efforts to show that we are carrying guns, of course, for self-defense against animals and such. Now also on my pack here, I got it loaded up, kind of rigged up with my sleeping bag. We got a coffee pot, because one thing ghost hunters need is coffee, of course. So the essentials are packed. Indeed. There's some other things on here. I forgot what they are, because I loaded up, I filled it up, just threw everything in there. But if you look behind me here, this dam is what they call it, the dam for the lake. We're going to head across that dam and up into that valley right there. between those two mountains. Look for signs along the way. Of course, we have casting material if we need to cast footprints. We have some measuring tape because we're going to measure the strides. We're looking for any evidence of something that's out here along the way, and then a good place to establish a camp. And we'll talk more about that when we get there, but probably something that's near a waterway, near a stream, a source where animals would come to get water, particularly Bigfoot. So let's head off on this trail, shall we? All right, so here we go. Not entirely sure where this trail is going to lead, but definitely excited to get up into that valley.
We look like we're hiking the Appalachian Trail for like weeks here, and we're only going overnight.
Yeah.
Like we brought everything that wasn't nailed down.
I feel like we could definitely use smaller packs.
Yeah, I think we definitely could, but I don't know what we would get rid of because we've got our essentials and we've got plenty of food and water in case we get lost out here. But then we've also got all of this like Bigfoot hunting gear, you know, the fishing line and, you know, just everything. And then we didn't even bring the parabolic dish because we didn't have a 9-volt battery for it. So
there's always something you forget. And
yeah,
I'm so
exactly.
disappointed that it's that. But
yeah.
We'll make do. We got some jack links.
Yep. So we'll be good.
Watch the ice on the rocks.
Yep.
Looks like it recently snowed up here.
It does. Ooh. Make sure you get a non-icy coat there.
I'm not used to hiking with all this shit on my back.
I know, right?
Okay, we got another little split here. Say we'll keep going up here, see if we can find that stream.
It's so secluded down here. We could camp right here.
Yeah, it is. In fact, here's a campfire pit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, these are some beautiful woods up here, though, that we're hiking through.
Yeah, it really is.
So we've come to a point where we can go up the hill, up into the mountains, or down here, there's like a valley. And looking down, like, it's not a straight drop, but it goes a ways down.
Yeah.
So the question is, thinking about finding something about Bigfoot, are we more likely to see evidence down in the valley, near the waterway, or up in the mountain?
I don't know. I mean, you always hear about Bigfoot being way up on the mountaintops or, you know, up in seclusion. But at the same time, this whole entire area is secluded. So I'm guessing that at some point they have to come down for water. And I believe that Bigfoot lives in caves. So caves are usually found near the water sources. I would say maybe we ought to try down by the water.
So that being said, we could either try to veer down here or we could see where this path goes because it looks like it bends. We could look for any kind of caves up there and also see if there's a clearer way to get down into the valley.
Right.
You want to try going up a little ways?
Sure, just a little ways.
All right, let's do that then.
Do you want to hold this so it doesn't
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Man,
Oh no!
my sleeping bag
These sleeping bags are a pain, you know?
coming undone.
Mine's not a problem at all.
Yeah, because yours fits in the backpack.
I know. I
And that's
found
the
one
one to
small
go with.
enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I planned. I planned
no.
well.
I'm
Oh,
glad I
man.
just now saw this.
Yeah, it's a good thing it didn't drag too much.
Yeah, it literally just dropped down. Oh man.
I will tell you, you can get a good view, a better view. We're up the mountain a little farther.
Yeah, you really can.
You can get a good view over here and kind of see that valley that we're thinking about venturing down into. It does look pretty thick down there, pretty dark. I like it.
I'm not sure if there's any safe way to get down. There is a little bit of snowfall, probably from last night, on the ground. The rocks are slippery. They're covered with ice still because it hasn't thawed out for the day. So this is a pretty steep drop off right here. And even as you go around, that slope right there looks a little too treacherous, a little too steep for us to get down.
Yeah, it does. Well, actually, I think we could take it. You want me to go down there and scout it out?
No, we're not going down that slope.
Hey, David, where'd you get that toilet paper? So I think we came to a point in the trail that some of us probably won't be willing to navigate through.
I don't think anybody could navigate that.
But if you look down, there's a nice little stream down there.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
You can
And
barely see it running down there.
to find a spot down there along that stream, you know, where that's
Yeah.
near. But my question is this. Like too close to the stream, would that be bad because then we wouldn't hear things
The
out
sound.
in the woods?
That's what I'm wondering. The sound quality would be bad. We wouldn't be able to hear anything coming up on us.
Right.
Let's take a moment here to figure out exactly where we are. I've got my waterproof map here. Best as I can figure, this is Long Arm Hollow. So this is that creek that runs right here. So you can see this very sharp slope right here. That's where we are. So from what I can see, we need to go back down toward the dam where we were and then see if maybe we can navigate either Brumley Creek up here or Long Arm Hollow here to get a little bit farther out from the lake.
Right, I agree. Another question that comes to mind, though, it's pretty thick down there.
It is.
Campfire wise.
Well, if worse comes to worse, we can camp by the lake. I mean, it's so secluded out there that I seriously doubt there's going to be any hunters camping out there with us. And a lake, of course, Bigfoot would come to a lake just as quickly as he'd come to a stream.
Right. The only thing with the lake, Saturday night, maybe the locals in town, they come up to the wildlife refuge, who knows, and that's the end of the road. It's like the parking lot. So he
Right.
may be so used to people coming in there, he might not come near it. So
Sure.
I would suggest if we can't get down along that creek, might be a little painful, but we come back on that trail we were on,
Yeah,
as there were some previous signs of campsites before it,
right.
and we go hike up along that trail.
Pain in my ass.
Yeah, that thing's not going to last a couple of miles.
No, it's not.
It's not falling apart again.
Are you getting this on film? Toilet paper in one hand, what's it on my sleeping bag in the other.
So what I got was one of the Sawyer water filters, and this is the little mini filter. It comes with this little bag, which is kind of hard to get water in because you got to like submerge it and push it through the water to get water in there. But you could probably use the plunger, the little syringe looking thing that comes with the thing if you really need to. But you don't have to use this bag. This supposedly will hook onto a smart water bottle, some of the life water bottles, I believe. But you get it screwed on there nice and tight, and you pull the lid out, the top off, and then you can just drink straight through here. And this filters out the water for something crazy like 100,000 gallons or something like that. So
It's enough to swim in a filtered swimming pool.
yeah, so it's actually pretty good, and I think I'll be able to use this again and again. You just have to make sure you flush it out. That's actually what the plunger came with. You put the plunger up against there and flush it with fresh water once you're done using it for a while.
Okay, so I just scouted out a couple trails along the stream. This one seems like it goes in the wrong direction, but once we get down there, if we keep going straight, it kind of came to a dead end, just surrounded by this laurel. But if we go down there and we veer left, it looks like there's, if not trails, a lot of open land that we can kind of walk through.
Oh, nice.
That doesn't have all
okay.
this underbrush. And we can kind of get a little farther down
Yeah.
into the hollow.
That sounds good.
So-
Let's do that.
All right.
All these down trees make it really hard. If it weren't for all these felled trees, I mean, it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
it's
but those
hard.
trees are definitely going to make for some good firewood, that's for sure.
Yeah, they are. I hope my camping axe is still attached to the back of my backpack.
Yeah, I had
Is
the
it still
coffee
back
pot
there?
lid fall off a couple times. But once we get up into this clearing,
Oh yeah.
here's what we got. A lot of, like I said, kind of open land to go through for a little bit. That's not going to work, actually, because it goes through some pretty thick laurel that you literally have to crawl through. We might be able to get down over this way a little bit. Let's see.
Just looks like a huge patch of laurel.
Yeah.
Striking out here. Striking out.
Another stream. Another stream down here.
Huh. Can you get to it?
Yeah, I'm at it. All right, so we found an area. Little stream down here. Might be able to set up camp.
Yeah.
I'm more hilly. It's like inclines.
Yeah, see, I'm not trying to go up anymore.
Yeah, it's like, you see this thing to my right? That's how it looks like all through there.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
It's messed up.
Well, we could go scout out this little area in here, see if there's a flat
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, let's try that.
We're out here now.
Yeah,
We're pretty good out here. I mean,
we are out here.
I'm so hot.
yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? But as soon as I took that sack off, I started getting cool.
Yeah.
Yep. What sucks about that is like you sweat under it, and then when you take everything off, you get cold.
Yeah.
You sweat.
That's
I
what I'm
meant
trying
to
do,
wear.
is
I
get
meant to
cold.
wear that wicking clothing because it wicks the sweat away from your body.
That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't have enough time to prepare. Thanks, ODU.
I know, right?
Ridiculous.
I can't get away from the cotton, though. I like the cotton.
Really?
Yeah,
we
it's
had
just-
an expression,
it's 'cause it's
man.
breathable, you know?
We had an expression, man, back in a few years ago. Cotton kills, because it keeps your it soaks up all the moisture and all the sweat in your body, and it makes you cold.
Really?
Yeah, people were saying cotton kills, so that's why you wear
Yeah, because
wicking
it's
stuff.
wicking, but it's not quick dry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I never
It
knew
doesn't
that.
dry fast enough. It stays wet for a long period of time.
Imagine the baseball players. They were like polyester.
I know, right?
They should go to cotton uniforms.
Oh, come on.
Uniform.
I came up here, I ran up here ahead to kind of stake out. We were looking for a good campsite. This is fairly level, it's fairly flat. I ran up this hill. If you can pan over here, I know you'll probably get the sun in the way.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a little trail that goes up. And I went up that trail about a quarter mile. There's another trail that intersects with it. So these are all things that we're gonna wanna keep in mind when stationing the trail camps tonight. And we'll go into the schematics of that later. But right now, just focusing on the camp. What's cool is right here, there's this little dip that goes down. So that's a good place to go do the business when you got to.
Right.
As David mentioned, there's a log going across
Yeah.
there, so you can kind of dangle over the log if
Yeah.
you need to. We'll go over some of the equipment that we have as we get unpacked here and set up camp. But when we do that, we're gonna set the tents up probably over here and have a little fire ring right here. We'll start by getting some of the leaves out of the way, making a nice little ring of rocks so we can get that ready, because we're only, let's see, we've been at it for probably about 3 hours, close to 3 hours hiking around the woods, and it's probably gonna get dark in about
Before long,
2 hours
yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
we want to be ready to
got
have
some
that
work to
fire
do, though.
going. We got a little bit of work to do. So.
Yeah.
So one thing we have with us as far as equipment is this handy shovel. It comes in this nice pouch that you can carry on if you need to. And the handle, for one, it's got a compass on the top. Nice rubber
Sweet.
grip on it. You unscrew the compass and there's an emergency whistle.
Huh.
Okay? So that's a pretty cool aspect. But the shovel itself is neat because it can be a pick or a shovel. Okay, see, it's got this thing on it right here. If you want to use it as a pick, you can
Oh,
do that.
pickaxe, yeah.
If you want to use it as a shovel, you can do that. It's got a knife edge,
Yeah.
serrated edge, and a bottle opener.
Oh, sweet.
So we're going to take this shovel, and what we're going to do for our fire pit, what we want to do is we don't want to just put the fire pit right on the ground. You can in certain areas, but we're going to actually dig a little hole and surround it with rocks so that we have a little bit of a fire pit, a little bit of a better way to maintain the fire. So let's see if we can
See, we cleared a spot here.
scoop in here. Gotta loosen it up a little bit, and yeah, got a little bit of rock in here.
It is going to be rocky, but
It's all right.
does that thing ever lock into place?
Yeah, this thing's got to be screwed down a little more. That locks it into
Oh
place.
man. I guess this trail really, you could say we really took a rocky road. Up
Yeah.
here. Knee slapper.
That's not too bad.
Oh, that'd be good too. You're getting away some of the water and stuff. that
Yeah.
they miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be really bad about this now. Trying to find wood that's not wet.
I
You know
know.
what I mean? That's gonna suck. But well, I mean, that right there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's dead.
I've got
It
my
is dead.
axe.
There you go. Got this one out of there.
All right,
Got
couple
several
of
pretty good ones.
And the fire pit's coming along
pretty nice down here. It's gonna be a nice little fire pit. Already got a log right there. We got to find a couple more seats, maybe brush some of the snow off of that.
Another one. This is a nicer fire pit than we have at our house.
It is. It
backyard.
really is.
Little filler rocks there.
Yeah.
Hey, so how are we gonna do this? The fire.
Starting the fire.
Yeah.
I like to always take the smaller stuff, and we got some fire starter, which we'll show, of course.
Okay. Okay.
Put that in the middle of it and just build it up. Get that solid core going.
Okay.
You know.
So you said the smaller stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, the smaller stuff.
Okay.
Kinda
Okay.
build it out.
Because. Okay. Because I was just wondering, because I was always taught like you start with like the bigger stuff and then you fill in with like the kindling and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's the only way. But then again, take that with a grain of salt because I ain't done it in like 5 or 6 years. So I could be totally telling YouTube wrong right now.
Well, you know where I learned about fire safety?
Smokey the Bear.
Yeah.
Oh man.
These are my expedition socks. They do have the official Smokey the Bear on them.
We got those in a gas station somewhere up near Williamsburg, didn't we?
West Point.
West Point.
That was right. Yeah, West Point. All right.
So as we've been sitting here making our fire ring, I've already heard what was kind of a strange noise. It sounded like somebody taking 2 rocks and just clacking them together real loud. I'm not sure exactly why a hunter would do that. And they're really the only people in this area right now. And there's probably very few hunters as well. So kind of an odd noise that came up above this ridge line, from over the ridge line. And so we're going to keep listening. I mean, once we're done moving around so much and, you know, pitching tents and making fire pit, it'll get a lot quieter out here and we'll be able to hear all of these sounds that are coming out of the forest around us. It's going to be probably a little bit creepy.
So we're well into setting up camp here, and you can see we've collected firewood. And unfortunately, with there having been snow fairly recently up in these woods, and probably rain, it's very wet. So some of the bigger logs that have been laying in the woods for some periods of time are very wet. So what we tried to do is collect a lot of medium-sized branches, because what we want to do is keep this fire going. It's going to get dark probably in about an hour. It's going to be fairly dark out in these woods. Between then, we have some things to do to set up for our observations and such throughout the night and the rest of our camp. But we want to keep this fire going, probably from about 5 o'clock, 5:30 at night, all the way through the morning. Enough time for us to get up and cook breakfast as well. This is probably a Sasquatch expedition must. Sunflower seeds, bigs. I always prefer the bigs.
Nice.
And this is the, gonna pronounce it wrong, Tapatio.
Ah. Chile
limon. Right? And
Right.
it's a little spicy. I like it. I usually don't see this around too many places. Loves. Got it at Loves.
Cool.
Yeah.
That Loves has some interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But where did you get this beautiful tent?
Amazon.
Ah, this beautiful Coleman tent. Look at the little logo right there. That's going to show on the front of it. That's going to be nice.
And if you kind of pan around there behind us,
Uh-huh.
I hung one of the lanterns.
Ah.
These
you
are
did. Ooh, look at that.
It's
Yes.
little Crossman lanterns, and they're neat. They're double-sided, so they give light off of both sides.
Right.
And we have 2 of those.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So we're setting up our trail cam, and this is let me just double check the name on this. It's a Campfire trail cam. It's fairly small, which is cool. And it's got, you can see the little blue lights picking up motion whenever something moves in front of it. We're gonna aim it down here. If you wanna pan over and take a look down into the gully, if it is. There's a little creek down there. The lake is just beyond it. So we figured this would be a perfect approach for animals. Maybe for Bigfoot if he was down there drinking water and he hears us making noise up here and gets curious. So this is one of the areas we want to monitor, this approach to the camp. We have it set to do pictures and video. I'm not sure exactly, this is my first time using this particular trail cam, So it'll be interesting to see how that works. But what we always want to do, it gives you the option of setting it for 1 photo, 2 photos, 3 photos. We're going to set it for 2 photos because we always want to have something to compare. If it shoots off 1 photo and there's something in there and we can't make out what it is, we want to look at a second photo to see if there's anything different. Maybe it's something, a tree showing a weird way with the way the night vision, the IR light's hitting on it. So we want to be able to have 2 pictures. We can set the photo resolution. We have it at 8 megapixels. We can set the video resolution. We're going to set the video resolution for, let's go down to 720 by 480. So it takes up less room on the memory card, which is still pretty good resolution. The video length, let's run it for, ooh, you can go all the way up to 10 minutes. We definitely don't want to do that. I'd say let's when it gets tripped. What do you think? 2 minutes?
What, this is after it's stripped?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 2 minutes.
We'll
2
go
minutes
for
is
2
good.
minutes. Okay, video length. And then what's cool about this one is it also has audio recording on it. So
That's cool.
let's take a look at the, whoops, went the wrong way. Let's go up here. Check out audio recording is on. So it will pick up audio, which is great because if there's motion, Bigfoot has been known to make some noises that are not something you would typically hear out in nature, of course. So with that being set, perhaps we can pick up some interesting things. So after actually testing the range of the trail cam, we decided to place it a little bit lower down here in this ravine. And it's facing the avenue of approach to our camp. So if anything comes up through this little trail here, it should indeed trip off this trail cam. And there's our camp just up the hill behind it.
I guess you guys got this at like Walmart or something? It says, I've never seen this before, honestly, but it says it's it was as seen on Shark Tank, and they got some cool ideas up there. But apparently it's something called InstaFire Fire Starter. And what it is, it seems like it's a type of powder. Or like granules kind of. And you just pour a little pile onto like the ground and then you light it. And then you just put wood over it without smothering it. And it says it lights wet wood. It burns at nearly 1,000 degrees.
Wow.
It can burn in winds up to 30 miles per hour.
That's good.
It burns on snow.
Jeez.
Let's see. It's
Some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it
and I
does.
mean this is kind of cool too. Its ash is a natural fertilizer.
Oh,
so
that's
kinda
not
cool.
going to be bad for the environment.
Yeah, and it says no, there's no like harmful chemicals in it or anything like that. So I'm just interested if it works.
Let's
Yeah,
try this.
you know?
Pour a little bit in the center
Pour a
of the
little bit in
fire
there.
pit there.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. It's like got little sticks. These ones might be a little too green. I gotta get some more. Yeah, some of the dead.
Yeah, I had some that were like really, really green. Okay, I'll cut it open just like a little bit.
Do you know what 1/8 of a cup is?
I have no idea what an eighth of
Okay.
a cup looks
Just
like.
do like a fourth of that.
Yeah.
It's like just like a little bit.
Yeah, a
You're
fourth,
talking
of,
like
a fourth
little.
of the package.
Okay.
I wouldn't put too
Should I pour it in
little.
my hand first before I get it on the ground?
You could.
Yeah, go ahead and pour it in your hand first. Oh, by the way, it's toxic when you touch it.
Is it?
Now that he's got a couple grains in his hand.
Look at that stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Kind of looks like fertilizer.
Yeah,
What,
that's-
am I putting it on this?
Yeah,
You
go
can
ahead
put
and
it on
set
that.
on
Why
there.
not?
Probably gonna need more than that. I don't.
Oh,
think
yeah.
That's quite an 1/8
Oh,
of
yeah.
a cup.
Pour it out there. Give some more. Let's give some more.
Yeah, we got a second package of it.
Yes,
Oh,
we
okay.
got plenty.
Yeah,
A little bit more?
that's probably good right
Good?
there.
Let's try it.
I think that's yeah.
All right. For a second there, I was like, oh no. Okay, so we're gonna start with these little sticks, of course. Try to get them caught. And let's see what happens with this.
Does it smell weird?
At first, it smelled strange.
Huh.
And I'm wondering if that was just from the fire itself, like
Right.
the smell of that. Because I mean, it will put off like chemicals, I guess. Now it's just the wood I'm smelling.
Yeah. I can see your breath too.
Yeah, probably smells bad too.
Yeah.
Probably where you're seeing a hot breath. It'll be even worse after this ravioli and beef stew. I got
Right.
here.
The little smokies
Oh, yeah.
and potatoes
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
we got some
brought.
good
We have a
food up
feast.
there.
We did.
We're gonna have a
List off
feast.
some of the things that we brought.
Yeah, well, we have some boiled peanuts.
Oh,
Oh,
that's right. I
man.
forgot about those.
We have potatoes,
Yeah.
some kind of, it seemed local. It was a smoked sausage, jalapeno smoked sausage.
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got those. And can of baked beans,
Yep. Couple cans of Vienna sausage.
Vienna sausage,
Right.
some jack links. We
Yeah.
got some kind of hash, some kind of breakfast hash for
Oh,
breakfast.
yeah. Dehydrated breakfast hash.
Yeah, and of course we got some coffee over there. I believe it's Folgers, but I could be wrong.
Nice.
We got our
Sounds
mess
like-
kit right here to make it in.
Yeah. Sounds
And we'll
like we're
show
eating
off-
pretty good.
Yeah, and we'll show the little stove that we're going to use a little later on.
Yeah, you can
that'll come
see
in
it
handy to make.
at the edge of the rocks there.
So the fire is starting to come along here, but we got a lot of wood to keep it going, hopefully. Through the trees, quite an amazing sight. You can see the moon coming up over there. And as we kind of pan over, you can barely see the remainder of the sunset over here behind us. And the toilet paper in the tree.
Good place.
Huh?
I said I'm already starting to hear some strange noises out there. It's a little bit unsettling because some of the noises you can't exactly tell what they are, but just to hear those noises, and a lot of them coming from up over this ridge back behind us. So I've got my back to whatever is over there. A little unsettling.
Yeah, what kind of wildlife?
Coyotes, maybe? Are out, definitely out here.
Yeah, they got coyotes,
Yeah.
they've got foxes, deer.
So one thing we like to do when we're camping is bake potatoes. So I'm going to show you how to do some campfire baked potatoes. Now typically we would wrap them in tin foil, but we were packing at a minimum today. So I'm just going to move the fire just over a little bit, okay, so I can expose some of these smoldering ashes. And I'm literally going to lay these potatoes right next to the fire on some of these ashes. And we're going to leave them there for a long time, probably about an hour. We'll just keep checking back.
And rotating them, right?
Rotating them. Yeah, I'll turn them every once in a while. With these, they'll cook no matter what. If you don't rotate them, they will. One thing about potatoes, at least from my experience cooking them by the campfire, they're a very good insulator. So even if I just left them like this, the bottom of them would get completely black, but it would just be the skin. The potato itself would be soft and warm and very desirable on a cold night like this.
We got some butter and sour cream.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. David's cooking something up over there as well on the stove. Maybe some raviolis or something. And then I think I'm gonna actually take see if I can find some good sticks here where we can roast. We got some of these sausages. See if we can roast them over the campfire. I think that'd be pretty cool. But right now I need to feed the campfire because it's getting a little low on us here. Those sausages are looking pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah, they are.
Did you lose an end of it?
I bit an end of it.
Oh.
Yeah, I lost it in my mouth. I was hungry. This trail mix just didn't cut in it.
Yeah, I hear that.
Need meat.
So we finished up eating, and we have our first signs of wildlife.
Yes. We're hearing some what sounds like dogs over the ridge. We're hoping that they're just normal dogs, maybe from a nearby farm. There's a possibility that they could be coyotes. I don't think there's wolves out here per se, but coyotes definitely. So we're a little bit nervous right now, getting a little paranoid. It's only what, 6:30, I think, and it's pitch black out here. So we're thinking about how much more darkness we have in the night, and it's going to be pretty creepy.
strange sounds out there. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that Linda suggested to bring out Bigfoot was to actually play music. Why is that?
What I wanted to try to find out is if there were some things that we could do, some noises we could make out in the wild that would be different sounds than what Sasquatch would normally hear. It seems from what they say that they're very curious creatures. So we think that if we make some strange noises and, you know, perhaps play a harmonica, then it might draw him out. It might make him curious, and he might have to come out and see what's going on. So we brought the harmonica. It's a small instrument. It's something that you can pack very easily into a bag, so it was the perfect solution. We've also got David over here, which makes some strange noises every so often.
Yep.
And I'm not referring to, you know, bodily function noises either. He does make some odd noises, so we're gonna have him make some noises out here tonight and see what that attracts.
Here we go. Going back to the days of the cowboys out on the range.
Nice.
Maybe Bigfoot likes it faster.
Maybe.
That's pretty good.
I mean, if I heard a harmonica playing like that out in the wild, in the deep, dense woods, I'd be tempted to go up there.
Right.
I'd be like,
there's a party going on.
Yeah, those people are having fun. Let me go join them.
Come on, catch my glove on fire.
So it's come that time where I'm sure a lot of people are probably wondering, how does one poop in the woods? And one thing, of course, we need toilet paper. It's got to be biodegradable toilet paper. We have some Coleman toilet paper as well. But I'm actually going to take this shovel right here and walk a little bit down this trail, not too far. Because we got David's tent right here. So right about here, we're gonna dig a hole. No, but seriously, what we're gonna do is a little bit further down here, and it's pretty dark down here. I mean, it is. This is unsettling. The camp is a little ways behind us. Not really a comfortable spot to, you know, because I like to be comfortable. I'm looking for something that I can lean up against. That's too far down there. A tree would be nice, you know, like maybe at the base of a tree. But I think we'll just have to wing it. Let me use this pick. That was a car. Right? Heard that?
I did.
All right. And you can take it.
Knocks off in the distance.
Huh?
I heard wood knocks off in the distance.
You sure it wasn't the echo of my shovel?
No, I'm positive it was before you started shoveling.
You better hurry up and start blowing it up.
Cece's talking about hearing wood knocks over there. And my worst... So we got a nice little hole here. It doesn't have to be too big, but you know, this is where I'm gonna do it, right? Was that the fire?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna bury it up when we're done. So
Like a litter box, right?
yeah, and I'll tell you, like, we've been talking about this for a little while, seeing who's gonna have to go, who's gonna be the first one.
I ate that McGriddle, that sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle for breakfast, and like a hash brown and a half. Did you hear something?
Yep. Right to your left. Oh no, you're right. My bad. My left.
Right
You're
down
right.
this way?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to make this quick. So, because
Alrighty.
Talk about getting caught with your pants down.
Alrighty. Good luck.
So what we had to do was walk all the way down to the lake, down this gentle slope of this mountain here, to be able to get to the lake so that we could get some water, because we absolutely have to have coffee. So we've got our water in the coffee pot there. Gonna go up and put it over the fire and percolate a little bit of coffee. Gonna be good.
All right, so we're not sure. According to our research, this is a sound that I'm going to try to mimic that some people claim Bigfoot have made. Now I'm working on perfecting this, but let's try it, see if we get a response.
I actually did hear something.
What was that?
I actually did hear something.
It didn't sound like Bigfoot.
No.
It sounded like a dog. Watch that actually be a coyote call.
Yeah.
And he's calling the coyotes over.
Yeah, or the Panthers.
The Panthers.
Now we gotta listen and see if we hear anything.
We have a couple other interesting things we're going to try. Like, there's no amount of light that you could have out here to make it bright enough for video purposes. I mean, we could, but it would really take away from the ambience,
It really,
or the ambience of the campfire
Yeah.
and the lanterns that we have. IR floodlight, perhaps. Maybe one more try. Should we?
Is there a different one you can do?
No. Mm-mm. That the other one I'm not. I don't have the. It's like hurts my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could try it.
You heard that?
Yeah. What was that?
Behind us.
Sound like a tree squeaking?
Kind of.
That's the Bigfoot howl. Try it one more time, because like I said, it's hard on the throat. I don't know. We'll keep trying. We got a couple of other calls that we can experiment with. We picked up a deer call. And supposedly, according to a couple of the sources, they say that that Bigfoot does respond to deer calls. Perhaps he eats deer. I don't know. But for some reason, they claim that when hunters have been out in the woods using these deer calls, Bigfoot has appeared. Also, I guess, is it from deer that they found, like partially consumed deer that they think maybe he ate?
They've seen him chasing deer. He's been seen chasing down deer. My question is, how often do you think people actually make reports to BFRO about hearing Bigfoot calls when it's just some idiots out in the woods like us?
Yeah.
Making strange noises.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
You know, because you think about it right now. If there's people camping down there by that lake, oh yeah,
They're hearing it.
they're talking about Bigfoot being out. But then again, I guess the only side to that would be if these people were out making those calls. Now, at some point, I would have thought they would have heard us up here talking and laughing because we were being kind of loud with that.
Yeah.
But perhaps not as loud as the howl and the whoop.
Could be. That was pretty loud.
Yeah. So it's funny to think, like maybe some of these sounds when they report hearing Bigfoot, it's really just some idiot up on the side of a ledge yelling into the darkness.
Right.
So we have this handy glow stick here. It's a Coleman glow stick. Not that we're sponsored by them or anything, but Coleman does make a variety of camping supplies, including glow sticks, which is pretty cool because that's my go-to company for camping. But what we decided we're going to do is, because the trail cam, it only goes if something trips it off. It does have audio, which is great. The camera only goes when we're recording it, the handheld camera. So what we want to do is we want to put this recorder a little off, just right outside of the campsite here, right at the edge of the campsite, and have it rolling. That way, if there is a wood knock or something that we hear in the woods, because there have been some strange noises that Linda and David have talked about hearing, if we do hear something, at least the recorder will pick it up. We'll be able to refer to that point. Now, this is going to be a long clip, so what we're going to do is every 15-30 minutes, we're going to give a time hack over to the recorder so we can remember what time hack it was after that we heard the noise, and we can go back to that spot on the recorder that far in the recording. The glow stick, which I started off talking about, is to simply, I'm going to just put the string of it around the recorder here and just mark where I'm laying it so we don't lose it, because it's a black recorder and it's the woods. The microphone's on this end, correct?
Yes.
Actually turn it that way a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so cooking up some little smokies out here, and it seems like it's gotten darker,
Yeah.
which is strange because the last time we were doing this over the fire here, I didn't even have to use the light, and now I have to, because when I panned over to Linda, where previously you could see her fine because of the glow of the fire, you could not.
Yeah, it is pitch black out here.
It's getting darker.
It is clear up above us, like the sky is clear, but I'm wondering if it has something to do with the fire, because we have some larger logs or larger sticks over the fire, so it might be preventing the light from coming out of the fire quite as much. But yeah, the little smokies, they're one of those efforts to be able to draw out Bigfoot. And we believe that he probably could be attracted to the scent of meat cooking as well. Who doesn't love the little smokies, you know? We don't have the barbecue sauce for them. We're not doing like cocktail weenies and stuff, but just sticking them on a sharpened stick and shoving them in the fire, and they really do smell good. I'd come out of the woods for some little smokies.
Me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So another thing that we have, a campfire favorite, is Cajun boiled peanuts. And these are something that David has never tried before, so I'm eager to
I have not.
get his take on these boiled peanuts. But good thing to keep in mind, if you don't have a can opener, make sure you bring a pull tab lid. That's very important. But I'm just going to put these right here on the handy little stove and let them boil away. Be eating boiled peanuts in no time. Now, see, if I was Sasquatch, I'd come out of the woods for this too, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've ever had a boiled peanut, but the smell of them is pretty good.
Yeah,
They do smell good.
absolutely. See what happens. And the coffee is just about ready, and I have to say I do love percolator coffee,
I do too.
Adding
it's the
to-
best.
yeah.
Oh, it is the best.
especially on a cold night like this.
Right. Now, I bought Jeff a really cool cup, and that one with the enamel and everything. Look,
It
it's
looks
got
like
a
this.
UFO on it.
Look at that.
See it? Isn't that awesome?
Isn't that? It's an enamel. It's an enamel cup, perfect
Uh-huh.
for campfire coffee.
Right.
You could put it on a burner there and heat it up if you needed to.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
But,
That's right.
Awesome.
Yep. Now, because I only had some like older metal cups left over, I decided to wrap the outside of mine. And I wrapped it in this design that has our Expedition Slalakum logo on it. And if you turn it, see it's got the Sasquatch over on the side.
Nice.
Now, I did this in honor of some of the areas that we were talking about going to. See, there's a blue line that represents the lake, Hidden Valley Lake. And then there's the trees and the mountains in the background.
Oh, that's
So
neat.
it's the Hidden Valley Lake Expedition Slalakum Cup.
Ah, we need T-shirts.
Yeah, we do. Definitely.
We definitely do. But I can't wait to get some of this coffee because, like
Yeah,
I said,
me
does it
neither.
not always taste better on the percolator though?
It does. The only thing is I was looking for the kind of sugar and creamer blend that I brought with me. I brought the powdered creamer, just dumped it into a little bit of sugar and mixed it around and brought that in a plastic bag. And I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure where it went. If we still have it, I'm really hoping we do because that really, I like to have my coffee the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will just take it black. That'll be fine for me.
I wish I could drink it black and not mind.
So you know how like certain things, it might be that what audio paragolia you were talking about?
Paradolia, yeah.
How you think like you're expecting something, so you
Yeah.
interpret something to sound a certain way. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because I was over there, and I was walking back, but like right before like I started walking, I thought I heard a whistle, like something like that was like.
Really?
Yeah, but it could have been like a tree creaking
Yeah.
because we've heard that a lot.
Right.
And like what I'm thinking is like the whistle was like compared to like from like a tree that we've heard.
Yeah.
So it could have been very similar, and I'm just interpreting that
that's
Right.
true.
because like I'm going off in the dark by myself. So
Yeah.
one, you're setting up that environment, you're setting up that thought process that, oh man, like there's gonna be something out here. And then your brain interprets it, oh, like I heard a tree, now I
Right.
heard something else.
Well, and
You know
what's
what I
made
mean?
it worse is the fact that we've been hearing some
Weird
what
stuff.
sound like
Yeah.
footsteps and stuff around the camp, and
Uh-huh.
we've said how crazy would that be if we actually came out here looking for Sasquatch and the place ended up being haunted.
Honestly, I'm actually starting to think that there might be like
Yeah,
some
something out here.
Yeah, I don't think it's living.
Yeah.
I think because I keep hearing like that grammar. Shout out Old Dominion. You're doing a great job. No, but I do keep hearing what does sound like walking every now and then.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard it in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if like one, we're just crazy.
Right.
Hallucinating, Blair Witch Project type deal. Or, like, maybe it was an animal.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, oh, what are they going down there? Like,
Yeah.
they're talking, and like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, because even a mouse can sound kind of loud.
Yeah.
Going through
yeah,
the leaves.
exactly. And, but I don't know, I mean, or you could say, oh, it was a spirit, and now they're kind of just like, I don't want to deal with them.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I just want them to leave me alone, Maybe you better build
We're
up
gonna do
that
a little
fire, man,
deer call here.
before you call a panther in.
Yeah, right. This is what it's called. It's called HS calls. Buck grunter.
Buck grunter.
All right, so we got this to kind of make it manipulate the sound a little bit.
Now, mind you, it's not very loud,
It's not.
but in the area that we're in, we're kind of sitting in a bowl, we've got high mountains around three sides of us, so that could probably echo pretty good, huh?
I think it could.
What you got there?
I have some jack links.
Ah,
I'm thinking we could throw Bigfoot a little peace offering.
yeah.
Just kind of tuck it down into the gully there. Let him know that, hey, broken arrow. Broken
Right.
arrow.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes.
Friends.
Yep. Shout out to Aaron.
You better make sure that stuff went far down in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it did.
I hope it did too.
I didn't see where it landed.
Because that's close to my tent.
Yeah, he's gonna be laying there in the middle of the night, and
Yeah, but
something's
he
gonna
was
be
still
coming up
crawling
on him.
next to, hey, it's fine. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you see what's in these? Little smoky juice.
Yeah.
I might accidentally drip some of y'all's tent coming back.
But I hope Bigfoot, if he's out here, knows how much this means, because this Jack Link's teriyaki beef jerky, I never would have got it. But I was walking in Food City in Abingdon, and it's $3.99 for this big bag of beef jerky. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So I get up to the register. It's $13.99 because I didn't have an MVP card or whatever the Food City equivalent is.
Right.
A Food City fan.
Yeah, there's no way you can buy such a big thing of beef jerky for anything less than about $10.
Yeah,
Yeah, beef jerky's very expensive.
it is.
We need to make our own.
That would be fun to experiment with that.
Yes, it would. But yeah, maybe he'll like the Jack Links and leave us alone. Or maybe he'll like the Jack Links and know that we have it, and then he'll come back for more. And he'll be ransacking our stuff in the middle of the night.
It's a peace offering. It's a peace offering. Bigfoot, if you're out there, all you gotta do is come and ask. We've got some more.
I know some people, you know, like they some people are like, oh yeah, I definitely believe in Bigfoot. Some people are kind of like I don't. But I know some people. I've heard that the people that say they do believe, they're kind of like, I think it's like a type of bear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like what do you think Bigfoot is? Do you think it's like a bear, or do you think it's like its own species or like type of thing?
I don't know. I mean, you do hear people talk about like that they believe it's an interdimensional being where it can kind of step in and out of our dimension. And they try to use this to explain why he disappears or why he seems so quiet or why he can move through the woods with complete silence. But I'm not so sure that's the truth. And the reason being because, like, if you live out in the woods your entire life, you learn to walk through the woods silently, especially if you're trying to be quiet. The Indians did it. And I say Indians, I don't say Native Americans, because people down here in Virginia prefer to be called Indian. So don't start with the comments. But, geez, yeah. I personally believe it's Gigantopithecus. I learned about this in anthropology class in college.
Okay.
And when they started talking about Gigantopithecus, I was like, that's a Bigfoot. You know, just like they're talking about Bigfoot. And what this was a giant kind of ape/hominid kind of creature that was, known to be 7 feet tall, huge. They had a very, ape-like appearance, but they walked on 2 feet, just like a Bigfoot would, covered in fur and everything. Now, of course, they were thought to have gone extinct. They're thought to have died out, I guess with the Ice Age or something, thousands of years ago. But things have a way of surviving, like the creature, what is it, the plesiosaur that they see, that they call Loch Ness, or Chessie, from the Chesapeake Bay. Those are just dinosaurs that were marine life back in those days. Yeah. And they just somehow survived, all of the climactic changes of the world.
Well, I mean, you gotta think too, like you're talking about stuff that, like supposedly people thought went extinct.
Right.
I mean, you're always hearing about scientists finding like a new fish or something that that they thought went extinct, hundreds of years ago, but now they find a new species, and that's all the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I never actually thought about that. That actually definitely could be a possibility.
Yeah, and you figure if you've got a species that has an intelligence, that is able to hide for some reason, that wants to hide, that wants to not be found by anybody, then it's going to hide pretty well. It's going to find a way to disappear, to not be found by humans. And every so often, somebody just happens to stumble upon one in the woods. But, I think it's definitely Gigantopithecus. And, I mean, they have skulls left, the Gigantopithecus skulls and stuff And if you look at the formation of the skull, it looks exactly like what you would think a Bigfoot's head would look like, or what its skull would look like.
One thing I think that's interesting about it, and I didn't even really know this until I started looking into it more, there's actually a lot of evidence out there. A lot of it. Now, of course, you look at a lot of stuff and it's like, all right, this could be a number of animals that this person is hearing in the woods, or you see this grainy video and it's like, well, that could be a million things. But there's actually some pretty good evidence that this creature does exist. And there was one, I don't know if you remember, a train, it involved a train back in the late 1800s.
Yes.
Where they actually caught a Bigfoot.
Yeah. So I guess the way the story goes, and I heard this through a lot of Sasquatch research, it's not a very well-known story, but what I've heard is that back in like the late 1800s, there were some people that were leaving a station, leaving a town, and a little ways out of town on this train, the train comes upon a creature laying in the tracks. And of course, they were able to stop in time, and the engineer and the brakeman got off, and they went to look and see what this thing was. And seemed to be, they weren't sure if it was dead at that point, but when they got close to it and started poking it to see if it was alive, it woke up or became conscious again and went and started trying to scramble up a rock face. And it got about halfway up, and the engineer or the brakeman, one of the two, went after this thing up this rock cliff. Well, it lost its footing and fell back to the ground, and they were able to grab the creature and detain it and put it on the train. Supposedly they took it to the next town that they were headed to anyways, their destination, and was that a wood knock?
I think it was, once again, these smaller trees blowing
Like
together because
clacking
the wind
into
just
another
blew.
one? It could be,
And I
yeah.
think it was just one of them clacking into another one because it was literally like right here.
It was
maybe like,
close.
you know, like 10 meters off to my
Right.
left here.
But they took this thing, they put it in a cage, and they put it first in the local post office, and then for some reason I think they ended up leaving it at the general store or at like a hardware store until somebody could come and take the thing. And they believed that they took it up to New York, and of course they were thinking that they were giving it over to science or something, you know, scientists. But somebody thought that they put it on a boat and tried to ship it over to the UK, and there it just disappeared. But what this thing was is they described as like a 5'5" creature, all on 2 feet, covered in hair. They believed that it might have been a juvenile Sasquatch that they had come upon, and they believed that maybe it had tried to climb this rock face when it heard the train coming and had fallen down and had knocked itself unconscious on the tracks prior to the train coming and finding it there. So pretty cool story. You can definitely look it up. I believe it was in the 1880s.
Yeah, and this made the headlines
1886.
too, didn't it?
It did. It was in a newspaper. And
You know?
I have a newspaper clipping.
A lot of witnesses, like if this was a murder, this person would be convicted.
Right.
You know, and it's interesting. It's reports like that.
Yeah.
You know, and who knows? Maybe with enough of these expeditions, we'll come up with face-to-face proof.
Right.
You never know.
Absolutely.
It comes when you least expect it, just
Yeah.
like anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. My leg has been so hot up next to this fire.
Yeah.
We made it through the night here at Camp Slalakum, and I went down to the water, rinsed off the coffee pot, and filled up the bucket in the coffee pot with some water so we could make some coffee and breakfast hash, which we'll tell you all about. But first, this little string rope right here, paracord, You may wonder, what in the world is this thing doing? It's coming down, it's going around a tree and being tied to this tree. It's actually securing our food way up there. And of course, this is a good idea because it will keep certain animals out of your food. Now, of course, I'm sure Bigfoot could probably get right up there, knock down that tree and take the lunchbox. But some bears, perhaps other ground-bound animals that may be wandering around up here in Hidden Valley, they definitely will not get your food. At least they did not get ours. So it seemed to work. As we lower it down, here it comes. And let's go over here and get the breakfast hash so you can see what it looks like. This cooler, I'll tell you, came from Walmart. Came in pretty handy though. It's been holding like all our food. But the breakfast hash is specifically for camping. It's called Mountain House, Savor the Adventure. Spicy Southwest, going with our theme of spicy stuff. And it's potatoes, shredded beef, green chilies, black beans, and corn.
Sounds good.
So we're gonna, all you do is you open the package, remove it, discard the oxygen absorber, and add 1.5 cups of water, boiling water. So we're gonna go ahead and boil that water over here on the little Craftsman stove, or the Coleman stove. So many things ending in man. But if you look at the stove, I'm not sure we highlighted it last night. It is pretty cool. It really is. For one, this bucket's multi-use. It's going to give us water, and we're going to use it to get, if we get any footprints, we're going to use it to mix the casting material. We got our water boiling here. Didn't take as long as it did previously. And we mix it right here in this pouch, so this is a perfect thing for along the trail, because if you don't have anything, a bunch of plates, and you don't have to dirty up plates, it's perfect. And when we're done, we're just going to put it in a Ziploc bag, take it back with us. So of course we got to remove this pouch, and that's what it looks like inside.
Ooh, that looks good.
It does look pretty good,
I'd eat
actually.
that dehydrated.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Set this down here and start pouring the water into it. Just like that.
Do you have to mix it?
Yep, you gotta stir it around. I'll bring it up here so you can see as I'm stirring it what it's gonna look like.
Now, what do you do once it's mixed up? Do you just eat it?
Yeah, like this.
You're not supposed to close it up?
Mmm.
Didn't it say something about closing it up and leaving it sit for a minute?
That's probably just to let it cool down. This is some good hash.
So I have to say, this is pretty amazing. It is the spicy breakfast hash, so it does have a little bit of a kick to it. I think if we closed up the pouch and left it, maybe the water or the liquid would have kind of distributed into the potato little shreds a little bit better. I don't know. But even without that, it's pretty darn good. I mean, considering that you're sitting out here in the wild and you could be just about anywhere in the world eating this stuff very easily with just some boiled water. It's well worth it. It's quite a bit. It does supposedly feed 2 people, and I could see very easily where it would feed 2. You might not have a huge amount of food for both of you, but it's probably going to be enough to, you know, get you on the road or on the trail.
So here's our trail cam. Coming down here, what we're gonna do is take it off. And it's a fairly easy to take it off. You just pull the snap. There we have it. But what's cool about this is you can check it, of course, while it's hanging up, because the front just opens like this. And we are going to go to, see if we can bring the screen up here to play it. I guess I'll turn it to the middle switch there. I think you have to turn to the middle switch to play. The directions, though it was a huge pack of directions, like
10 pages of it, not even, were English. The rest of like the 100 pages were all in different languages, so it wasn't that I had a bunch of directions. But here we go. Let's see what we got here. Okay, that could be me. That's 6. That's 5. That's me this morning. That's yesterday. So unfortunately,
Nothing.
doesn't look like we got anything.
Huh.
Some strange sounds throughout the night, but nothing came up through this avenue. And it's interesting because most of the sounds we heard sounded like they were coming from
Up on the ridge.
up on the ridge here.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps next time if we come back to the same site, we should put one up there as well.
Absolutely.
So the sounds we heard last night, we were hearing what sounded like a lot of wood knocking, right? And one of the things that I thought was interesting was that even though the wind is still blowing just like it was last night, we're not hearing that wood knocking anymore. So it makes me think that we were telling ourselves, well, maybe it's just a piece of a tree that's hanging and dead, knocking against another one in the wind. But if that was the case, then it would still be doing it, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. But there were some other weird sounds that you kept hearing.
Yeah, like whistling. It almost sounded like whistling or something. And that was like, well, we kept hearing that from like over that ridge and over there above,
Right.
up above the hill. But I mean, it was kind of like the same thing. We tried to attribute it to like the wind and stuff, you know. But like you said, the wind's blowing and I don't
We're not
hear it
hearing
now.
any of
Yeah,
that now.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't with every gust of wind either. You
That's
know?
true.
It was kind of like random.
Yeah.
And then one time the pitch changed. Like it sounded strange
Yeah,
like one time. And it
yeah.
was up over this way.
Yeah, you would think if it was the wind again, it would be the same pitch, the same
Yeah.
tone every single
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah.
But to have it change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know we were hearing some voices at some point, but,
Yep.
you know, voices can carry really far out here from ridgetop to ridgetop, so you'd be surprised. I mean, it could have been hunters even as much as a ridge or two over from us that were just making camp. And it quieted down right about maybe, what, 1 o'clock, 1:30?
About 1 o'clock. Yeah. It
Yeah.
just stopped.
Yeah, so it seemed like maybe they just all went to bed, but the whistling and the wood knocking seemed a little closer. And there was also that metal sound. It sounded like, I think Jeff and I heard it a bunch of times. I don't know if you heard it.
I heard it once. I finally heard what y'all were talking about. Because
Yeah.
I've for a while, like y'all kept saying you heard it, and I didn't say
You weren't
anything because
hearing
I
it.
didn't hear it.
Yeah.
But that's probably because like where y'all were sitting at, because you're sitting like over there, and I was sitting here.
Yeah.
Because I could hear the whistling more than y'all could hear that.
Right.
And then y'all heard the wood or the like
That
the metal
metal.
noise. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
and
did finally hear it.
Yeah, and the way I would describe it is it sounded like if somebody took that metal carafe, that metal coffee pot there, and just kind of lightly tapped it against a tree, you would hear that kind of a hollow, thin metal sound, kind of that thud of it. That's exactly what it sounded like. And I can't imagine that there's anything up there, you know, in the natural world that would cause that kind of a sound because it sounded so metallic. So, another interesting thing.
Last night, it was so exciting being out here, and it was relaxing. We started this campfire at 5:30, a little before 5:30 in the afternoon, and we sat by this campfire until 3:30 in the morning. So several hours we sat out here, and it's a perfect place because this ridge did protect us from the wind. Every time the wind blew, we didn't even feel it. But one thing, as Linda mentioned, there were some voices coming up from over the ridge here. And of course, I don't think it's anything paranormal with the voices, because if you go up this little trail that we were getting firewood from, you come to another trail. So there probably is all kinds of hunters and people that travel back and forth back there. And even if they are, like she said, in another part of the area, even a greater distance away, voices can carry in the woods. I would wonder if we could hear these people talking, they could hear us talking. And if they could hear us laughing and talking, they may have very well been doing those wood knocks just to try to freak us out. Like, hey, there's some people, let's mess with them. Or maybe they were just doing like we were doing. As we mentioned last night, that's another possibility. We were out here making Bigfoot calls.
Now, those people that are over there at that campsite, if they were at a campsite or if they're just hunters walking through the woods, they're probably going to be talking this morning around their campfire, sitting there saying, hey, we were hearing these Bigfoot calls last night, and we have no idea where it was coming from. At first, we thought it was the wind, but we heard it when the wind wasn't blowing. So, could it, you know, possibility there, possibility. But we did leave the digital voice recorder going while we were sitting by the fire and throughout the night while we were sleeping. So at one point, one of those wood knocks did happen while the recorder was going. So we want to go back to that clip and see if we can compare it to when the wind was blowing, because you can hear the wind blowing easily. I'm sure the recorder picked it up. And see, just analyze a little further, see if it does indeed sound like it was from a person, from the direction of the voices, or if it was something off in the woods somewhere else. If it was, pretty interesting. So we're heading down the trail here, leaving camp. We broke down, and the next thing of concern is the gas in the car.
Right.
Because it was a windy road to get up here.
That's the biggest concern.
Yeah, and we hit 35 miles left
Right.
when we were coming up to Hidden Valley. By the time we got down to the parking lot
Or
where we
up to the
parked,
parking lot.
up and then down,
Steep slope.
we were down at 21 miles.
Yeah.
The gas station is 15 miles away.
Right.
So we're hoping it counts for all those curves. Closest one is Big John's.
Yes. Big John.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Let's see what happens here.
Also, a side note, take your trash.
Yes.
If you're camping like this, always take your trash. Always, always, always. We were here and we saw a couple of Bud Light cans, probably from hunters left behind, you know, but I mean, that's just bad for the environment, you know.
It's annoying.
If you're
Yeah.
gonna be an outdoorsy kind of person, at least, you know, take responsibility, you know, collect all your trash and take it out with you.
Yeah.
Yep, the only thing left at our campsite is a fire ring.
Right,
And so the next person that comes up, hopefully they can use it and enjoy it.
right.
And hopefully one day we'll come back to Hidden Valley.
Yes.
But I believe there are going to be many more of these expeditions in our future. Many more methods that we're going to experiment with that we didn't really
Right.
get a chance to this time, with the rush of setting up camp and a couple of other things.
Lack of a 9-volt.
Lack of a 9-volt. So some other things we're going to try, and some other creatures perhaps that we're going to go in
Right.
search of.
Yeah, not just Bigfoot. There's a lot out there. And there's so many more places that we could go camping just within the state of Virginia to check stuff out and to look for something that it may even be a couple of years before we get back here to Hidden Valley.
It may be, but one day we'll come back, see
Yeah.
if our fire ring's still here,
Yes.
and see if the word Slalakum is still carved in the tree.
Yeah,
But thanks for joining us on this adventure.
yeah.
And now the adventure back home begins.